Hi everyone, welcome to the vlog. Day 1, Danica and I touched down in Lisbon and headed over to LX Factory, which is a cute area full of trendy restaurants and stores. And the first place we went to was this gorgeous bookstore called Ler Devagar, and I was super excited because I'm in my book girl era. And my only criteria was I wanted to pick books that I haven't seen or heard of, so I chose these two. After we left the bookstore, we carried on shopping, hopping in and out of different shops, and I ended up picking up these super cute aviators because the little Shein glasses I packed weren't gonna cut it. After we were done shopping at LX Factory, we hopped in an Uber and headed over to Pastel de Nata, which is home to the very first Pastel de Nata. We decided that we wanted to dine in, so we looked at the menu that they had on the wall there, and when we walked in the back, I was so shocked. Like, I was expecting this little cafe, but it was huge. I ordered 2 pastel de natas, which I was literally so excited to try, and they were so yummy. They quickly became an obsession of the trip.
Is there filling inside of it? Let me see.
That's nice. After we were done eating, we headed right down the street to Geronimo's Monastery. We didn't do the full ticketed tour, but instead we went into the church that's attached on the side that's completely free to go into, and I remember Danica and I were just talking about how beautiful and impressive the architecture was given the limited technology that they had. Like, I still don't know how they did it. After our exploring, the jet lag started to kick in, so we headed back to our hotel, and we stayed at this hotel called Upon Angels. And I really enjoyed the interior design of this hotel. Like, it was giving very funky chic, if that's a thing. And now for our first room tour, because we actually stayed in 3 different accommodations during our time in Portugal. So when you first walk in, you have the kitchenette area as well as a nice large closet. And then you turn to the living room area over here, and by the bed that kind of like separates the living room to the bedroom kind of was this really beautiful decor. Like, I loved that piece. And then we have the welcome sign, which I always think is a really nice touch. And then we have the tub and the bed there. And it was at this moment I realized, I'm like, yeah, this is a room for couples. Like, it's giving very couple, but I loved it anyways. And then we have the balcony area over here, which overlooks like a courtyard garden, I don't know what you want to call it, as well as the pool and a beautiful view. So after recharging a bit, Danica and I decided to get ready for our first night out in Lisbon. My sister likes the ube one.
You know? That's the one I've been using.
Really?
Bro, that shit has my face snatched. Oh. Like, it's that fucking good.
We didn't have concrete plans for the night, so we asked one of the guys working at the front desk for some suggestions, and he actually recommended a street festival that the country has in honor of All Saints Month. And let me tell you something, walking in Portugal is no joke. It is just never-ending stairs and hills and stairs, but it was so worth it in the end because we got to see this beautiful sunset view along the top of one of the hills. After a decent walk, we finally arrived at the festival, and these moments are what I love most about traveling, like really intermixing with the culture and the people. We hung out at the festival for a bit, but we weren't ready to go home, so we hopped in an Uber and headed over to Pink Street, and y'all, we had too much fun here. Like, we went so hard for night 1. Pink Street is this strip full of different restaurants and bars and clubs, and it was just so lively. They were playing Afrobeats, pop, house. We met so many people this night. It was so much fun. Like, some that bought us drinks at this spot, at the next spot, at the next spot, and it was just so much fun to be young, wild, and free.
Jasmine, can we move to Portugal?
Day 2, we woke up hungover as hell, but we had to keep it pushing because we had brunch. We had reservations at this really popular spot in Lisbon called Dear Breakfast, and we got the seats that I was secretly praying for, so I was thrilled, and breakfast was really delicious. At this point, Danique was violently ill, so I dropped her off at the hotel to get some rest, and I headed over to the excursion of the day, which was a tuk-tuk tour. And I'm actually really proud of myself because old me would have bailed on doing a solo activity, especially in another country, out of fear. But no guys, it really is okay to do things by yourself. Another thing I really love about traveling is getting to explore as much of the place that I'm visiting as possible. Like, going to the tourist spots is obviously a priority and I'm going to do that, but I even love just driving to the different neighborhoods and seeing the different streets and getting to see people in the natural element. Like, I don't know, I just love that as well. My favorite stop from the tuk-tuk tour was going to the highest hill in Lisbon and just really taking in the view. And I actually learned something, like I did not know that Lisbon had a rendition of a Christ the Redeemer statue. We carried on the tour, continuing to drive through the beautiful different neighborhoods of Lisbon, and my tour guide was actually telling me he was going to bring me to a location to try cherry liqueur. I'm not even going to try to pronounce its real name, but it was really, really delicious, and I actually picked up a Bafana sandwich from the spot as well. After my tour was over, I walked and I found a little cafe where I bought a water and a soda, and I sat down and I had my Bafana sandwich, which is a traditional Portuguese sandwich with thinly sliced pork and mustard, and let me tell you something, it was fire. By the time I got back to the hotel, Danique was feeling much better, so we got ready and we headed over to Rocco, which was our fancy bougie dinner of the trip. Rocco is an Italian restaurant, and the interior design of the restaurant was just stunning. Speaking of being stunned, let me tell you about the glass of wine you just saw there. So Danique and I each put in an order for a 20 € glass of wine, right? Like nothing crazy. And then our sommelier, that's what they're called, right? Came back and he was just like, I saw you put in this entree and this entree, and I think this will be paired better with it. And we were like, you know, that's fine, sure. Tell me why each glass of that wine was 60 euros. Honey, when we opened up that bill, we were flabbergasted. Like, Danique and I were laughing about how that glass of wine financially destroyed us the rest of the trip because we had to take out more money. Like, what? But at the end of the day, it's really just a funny story. We can tell, like, the food was incredible, the service was incredible, like that tiramisu, bussin'. So don't let that story deter you from going to Rocco. It really is a great spot to go in Lisbon. After we were done with our meal, we headed to the bathroom, which ended up being stunning. Like, we definitely took a lot of photo ops there. But after that, we made our way out and headed over to Java Rooftop. I really liked the vibe of Java Rooftop. Like, it had a very sophisticated feel, and Danique and I just took in the beautiful rooftop views and continued to meet people and just have a fun night. Day 3 was one of my favorite days of the trip, and it was a day trip to Sintra. Our tour group met at a central location in Lisbon and made the about 40-minute drive over to Sintra. We started our tour bright and early at Penna Park, and everything was just so beautiful. The greenery, the monasteries we passed by, everything was just so tranquil. And another thing about me is that I love a heavily treed area. Like, I love a forest vibe. Like, being surrounded by lush greenery is just really peaceful for me. We continued our hike until we finally arrived at the beautiful Penna Palace. And I really loved the artistic design to this palace. Like, the tiles and the color choices and the sculptures were just so intricate. Our tour guide gave us a time frame to explore the grounds of the palace because we didn't do the tour where we could go inside of the palace because the line was, and I'm sure always is, super insane. It was like crazy. So we just got to explore and look at the beautiful views, and I loved it so much. Like, to me, it's always kind of crazy going to historical landmarks because it's like, wow, people really were here. Like, people really lived here back then. Like, it's so cool. After exploring Penna Palace, we drove over to Sintra Old Town Center. Here we had about an hour and a half to either eat lunch or wander around, so Danique and I decided to eat lunch at this restaurant my friend actually recommended to us. She and our tour guide actually really highly recommended the octopus, which I ordered, and it was so delicious. Like, Portugal does not play about their seafood. After our amazing lunch, Danique and I walked back over to the group meeting point, and we noticed a bunch of different vendors along the side of the road, and I am really kicking myself for not getting anything because there was a ton of beautiful jewelry. After our group was fully accounted for, we began the trek up to the next location, and I just love group activities. Like, you meet just such a wide array of different people, different ethnicities, age groups, and you just become close friends for the day. Like, this woman was actually so hilarious. Like, in this clip, she was saying she was gonna kill our tour guide because he'd be like, we're close, and next thing you know, we had 17 more staircases to go up, but she was 70 years old and killing it. While we were in Quinta de Regulara, we visited this well that was visually stunning, but historically it's actually like, I think they called it the initiation well, and it has ties to like Freemasons, and it was so interesting because going down I'm like, this is so beautiful, but then there was a shift. It started getting a little spooky actually, and Danique and I were laughing because we were like, we can imagine people with like torches going down this well in like a chant. After we escaped the tunnels of darkness, our tour guide gave us more time to explore the grounds, so Danique and I just wandered and really took in the views again, and this was a moment we were both like, wow, we are really in Portugal right now. After we were done with that location, our group made the drive over to Cabo da Roca, which is the westernmost point of Europe. It's this cape with a beautiful view of the Atlantic Ocean, and I just found myself, like, again, awestruck of the view. However, I wasn't awestruck enough to go get a closer view. Danique and Courtney, who was a friend we made along the way in our group, went to that other cliff you saw there to get a closer view, but I just didn't need that stress in my life. You could leave me with the side with the rails. Like, I do not need to be the next breaking news story. Woman falls off cliff. Like, come on.
You guys want to do like a dance or something? Oh, wait, that was actually really...
The last place we visited on our tour was this beach, and the camera doesn't even really do it justice. Like, it was such a beautiful location, and the beach was full of surfers, and you know what? I don't think I've ever witnessed somebody surfing in real life. It was so cool. But that was a wrap to an amazing, amazing day. That was truly a highlight of my time in Portugal. I would highly recommend that excursion to anyone visiting Portugal. At night, I don't know where me and Danique mustered the energy to go out, but we were like, you know what? We're in Portugal, we're in Lisbon, let's rally. So we decided to go to Sneaky Sip.
This is actually kind of a vibe.
And there was a photo booth, so that was a must. After our photo shoot session, we decided to head down to the bar, and here was Danique reminding us to not go as hard as we did day one. Guys, we really went crazy day one. We had no business going that hard. But as we arrived to the bar, Danique and I were just like, wow, like, this spot reminds us so much of Brooklyn, like Bushwick more specifically. And this spot had a really unique cocktail menu, and both of our drinks were super good. Day 4, we said goodbye to Lisbon and made the 4-hour drive to Lagos. I was massively excited for this leg of the trip because I needed a beachy getaway. We stayed at this amazing Airbnb, which was my personal favorite of the trip. Like, I just felt right at home here, and it was a really amazing location. Like, we were central to the town and to everything that you could possibly need. Like, this street was right off of where we were staying. It was so amazing. But today we dedicated to exploring, and we did some souvenir shopping. I bought that plate for my sister, and I really should have got myself one too. But we continued to shop and hop in and out of different stores and just wander throughout Lagos. It's a very small town, and I just loved it. Like, it's not quite an old town, but it had more of a quieter, like, beachy town feel, and I loved it. At this point, Danique and I were both beyond starving, so we stumbled across this restaurant called Abrigo, and we both had pizza and I had an Aperol Spritz, and it just felt very, felt very Euro summer. And what better way to finish off a meal than with a sweet treat? So we decided to go to Gelasia, which is this gelato spot that I could tell was super, super popular in the town. And I got a fruit, like berry gelato, and Danique had a tiramisu gelato, and it was just too good. But after that, we continued to just explore Lagos and take in our surroundings. When we decided to call it a day and head back to our Airbnb, we decided to close out the day with just a nice glass of wine, which our Airbnb host was so kind to provide because I think their family owns a vineyard, and we just hung out and rested, and I loved it. Day 5, Danique and I got up and ready for brunch at Black and White Cafe, which was a super popular spot in Lagos. We both ordered the breakfast burrito and the pressed watermelon and mint juice, and it was just so fresh, like it was so good. After our meal, we were both charged up and ready for the next excursion of the trip, which was actually each of our favorite excursions of this trip, which was a boat tour along the Algarve. Danique was not playing. She made sure we had front row seats in that boat, so we sat down and got the rundown from our tour guide.
Far from here, it's around 45 minutes to arrive there. So after the river, we need to put some speed.
And after that, we were on our way, and the views were insanely gorgeous, and the boat was so much fun. We were playing music. As the tour progressed, we continued to hop in and out of different caves, and words cannot describe how in awe I was of the view I was taking in. Like, every time I looked over at Danique, she had her eyes closed, just like completely at peace, and it was just so beautiful to see, and it just really reminds me how grounding nature is and how beautiful the world is. And that was a wrap on our boat tour excursion. If you are in Portugal, again, I would really highly recommend doing a boat tour of some sort on the Algarve. It was incredible. We spent the rest of our afternoon in town shopping for some more souvenirs. I got another Pastel de Nata, and we had some dinner and got ready for a night out to Joe's garage. As my mom would say, that guy on the top got touched, but Danique and I were like, we have to participate. And doing something like that for me is so out of character. I'm usually shy, but me and Danique had a blast. And I was actually smiling when this song came on because it didn't make me sentimental in a sad way, but I was just thinking like, wow, I'm really in Portugal from New York. We did it. After Danique's finale, we headed home with another amazing night down in the books. Day 6 was sadly our last full day in beautiful Lagos. Danique and I had a nice lazy morning in, but we got ready and headed to lunch before our beach day. We last minute looked up this place called Nanaba and it sounded good, so we headed over. It's a burger joint that has a lot of Caribbean influence, like they were playing reggae music, like it was a cute spot. And Danique and I ordered the toucan burger, which is apparently one of the top 50 burgers in the world. Do I concur? No. But was it good? Yes. After our lunch, we walked it off by walking about 20 minutes to the nearest beach. And it was so cool because all the beaches are connected by these boardwalk stairs, and the beaches are kind of like off the cliffs if you think about it. So we had to walk all the way down and then down. There are multiple beaches that you have access to along this boardwalk, but we decided to go to Praia Dona Ana, and boy am I happy that we did, because this beach was just incredibly stunning. Like so beautiful. I packed my book, which I didn't read a single page of, and Danique was drawing, and look how talented my friend is.
It's sweet, Jazzy.
This is beautiful. We each took turns going to the water, and it was beyond freezing. As I settled back down, I popped on a playlist that I curated about a month or two prior to the trip, and I curated it to fit the vibe of being in Lagos and on the beach, and to put myself in a certain mind frame. And I fear I know myself too well, because I may have shed a tear or 2 or 3 or 10, but it was just because I was feeling so grateful. Like, this has truly thus far been an amazing trip with one of my best friends. After our amazing beach day, Danique and I headed back into town and picked up dinner and some more gelato from Gelasia and watched some clips from the BET Awards. Day 7 snuck up on us so quick we couldn't even believe it, but it was time to leave Lagos and make the 4-hour drive back to Lisbon. Once we arrived in Lisbon, we headed over to our last accommodation of the trip, which was this gorgeous penthouse Airbnb. However, lugging up our full luggage up 6 flights of stairs was torture. So here's the final room tour of the trip. So sad. But when I was planning this trip, I had a very specific idea in my head. Like, I wanted to be in a cool hotel. I wanted to be in a beachy kind of loft feel. And then I wanted the last accommodation to feel more grounded and real. And I think I hit the nail on the head with this location. It all just had a very authentic feel to the way that it was curated. Like, it gave off a very antique feel. Like, I loved the full-length mirror. I loved the living room area space, each of the bedrooms with like the balcony doors and all the natural sunlight that came in. It was just truly the best possible place we could have closed out our trip in. But I'm laughing to myself because Danique and I both agreed that it was a little spooky to sleep in at night. Like, I don't know what was the shift that made us both think that, but yeah, it was a little scary at night. But that's just us being silly. Like, I would highly recommend this Airbnb to anybody staying in Lisbon, and this was my favorite area of the Airbnb. It was just so comfy and cozy and a great place to sit and decompress. At this point, I was starving and I knew I wasn't gonna make it to dinner, so I left Danique to relax while I headed out to grab something before dinner, and 10 bonus points if you can guess what I got. It was a short walk from where we were staying, and if you guessed that I went to get Pastel de Natas, you would indeed be correct. Fabrica de Nata is hands down my favorite Pastel de Nata spot that I had during my time in Portugal. Like, it is just too good. After I secured the goods, I made my way back to our Airbnb so I can enjoy my sweet treats before our last dinner of the trip. Danique and I both got ready and took some flicks before heading out. And don't we look so cute in our matching red lips? We hopped in an Uber and headed over to Asa Vera Fado for our last dinner of the trip, which will be a dinner while we listen to fado music. And fado is a traditional Portuguese genre of music that I personally would compare to the blues. And when I was planning and curating this trip, I wanted this dinner to almost feel like a farewell and a send-off, and I think it was perfectly that. It was just such a memorable way to close out the trip. And here are some of my favorite moments. And with that, that concludes our time here in Portugal. This trip has been nothing short of truly amazing and spectacular, and here's to hoping for many more just like it. Thank you for watching and see you later.